Jahzo, blink twice if you can hear me.
Oh, I'm blinking.
No, you're not. I can literally see you.
I just blinked after I said that.
I don't. Nope, you're a liar.
Oh,
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
what's up? Doing pretty good.
It's
Still a
good.
little sick from Dallas, but
How was
nothing I can't
Dallas?
handle.
I missed out. It feels bad.
It was fun, but kind of sad
Just because of
and
results or
weird.
what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Would you guys? What was placing for you guys? Obviously, you were top eight.
We
I knew that. I didn't get to watch much. I was up north.
we got like ninth, 12th. I think
Really?
is
I thought you guys made the
no, we didn't make championship Sunday.
rip, dude. Who'd you guys drop to?
So we lost to Cloud9 in uppers, and we lost to EG in lowers, both game fives.
So I mean, EG made top four and Cloud9 won. So that's not the worst, I guess. A lot of people lost to EG, and everybody lost to Cloud9. So
Yeah.
any things that you think
Two.
that you guys could have done to win those series specifically?
Mm. I mean, the overarching theme is we need to clutch out series and games. There were a few times we had the lead against Cloud9, and we just couldn't hold it.
I mean, you guys do win in game fives, so could be worse,
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
said that like right before we went on stage against Cloud9, and then we lost in game five.
Yeah,
And then I said it again before we went on stage against EG, and then we lost game five. So
that's so bad, dude. I know you. I know you guys were joking on the CJ and CJ thing last night about how you guys are gonna play in like the semis or something like that, and they get reverse swept by FCB in Game 7 or something like that because you said it.
yeah, I'm jinxing my team apparently.
Hey man, someone's got to do it. It's either Gibbs or you, I guess, at this point. So
Yeah, I think Gibbs, I think Gibbs predicted us both times we lost too.
it's what he does, man. He always does that, and it's kind of silly how that works. But enough Rocket League talk. I'd rather talk about other stuff, things that you've been interested in, things you've been up to. So I know you like to kind of delve into a certain game. Both you and Kronovi have been playing it for a long time. You guys both got me into it and power leveled the shit out of me in it. Path of Exile. I came in relatively late, but like, how long have you been playing Path of Exile, other than forever?
So the first time I played it was actually with Kronovi when we were college roommates. It was
Okay.
December of 2015. I was a complete noob. I was coming from Diablo, so the mechanics were entirely different. I was like, "Oh, what's linking?" Like, "Oh, I put my skills in my gear. I
Yeah.
don't just like get points, and I have skills." And then every so often I'd play, I'd get confused, and I'd stop playing or busy with school or whatnot. And then it's like about 2 years ago, I got really into it, and I haven't stopped playing since. So
It's literally to me what Diablo 3 should have been. Like, it's so good, and there's so much to do all the time. And then when you think there isn't, new stuff comes out, and you just keep going. How
yeah, a
do you
lot of
feel
people
about
are.
the newest? I forget the newest thing that just dropped.
Well,
Uh,
it the new season starts tomorrow, actually,
ooh, do you
which is kind
know?
of also I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Do I
what
know?
if obviously I'm sure you've dived into the details. Can you give people like a TLDR of what it actually is? Because each like season they do this like new mechanic or like new kind of thing.
Yeah, so this season, when you're running into areas, you run into these like monuments from like times past. You
Okay.
click on the monument, and like two armies spawn or like appear that in the past were fighting each other, but they're like frozen in time. So what you do is you like kill their shells or whatever you want to call them,
Hmm.
and then they'll spawn after like 10 seconds, and you have to kill them again. But all the while they're fighting each other,
It's pretty cool. It's like
and there's a whole like loot system behind it and everything. So
little mini instances. It's kind of cool. Do you have the
yeah.
ability to like? I mean, because I obviously the first I really did was like maps and stuff. Do you have the ability to like level those up to make sure loot increases and all that kind of stuff too? Like I'm sure there's a mechanic to it.
Well, so the monuments themselves like level up as the level of the area goes up. So as like you do harder maps, those areas get harder and harder.
Right. So it's the same thing for the I don't even know what you would call them, mini wars or like
Yeah.
yeah.
So
What's
like,
what do they have a name for it?
well, the season's called Legion,
Okay,
and there's five different actually like actual civilizations that are fighting.
that's pretty
So
sick.
it's like, yeah, and
Does
it'll
I
randomly
assume
pick
each one
two.
has like their own unique fighting style or like certain mobs that they're specific to?
Exactly.
Okay,
And
that's
each
pretty cool.
each army has their own drops as well, own loot. It's like army specific loot.
Do you get to pick, or is it RNG?
So when you run into it in the areas, it's random. It picks two.
Okay.
But like the final boss is like they drop these splinters where you combine all the splinters into one thing. It's called an emblem,
Okay.
and then you combine uh, two or more emblems into like this final fight that you put in your map device, and then that spawns like a boss for each of the armies that you put into your map device, and then those are like badass.
Dude, I don't understand how this studio can come up with all this crazy shit and pump out content like nonstop, and then Diablo just continued to like fall short every single time. They're like, hey, you know that one gear you were grinding for? Now you can grind for it again, and the rolls are a bit better. And they're like, okay, our new content is the rolls are perfect, and like that was your late game. That's all you did. It was terrible.
Well, what's interesting is like, so I don't know if you knew this, but GGG, the makers of Path of Exile, actually like got bought by Tencent.
Yeah.
But they were doing this kind of stuff beforehand, and I still can't believe how much content they were able to push out before they actually got outside funding.
And they do it for free. I think that's the craziest part. Is like obviously there's plenty of things in there to entice you to pay, whether it be, slots for inventory or, just ways to actually organize your shit, or all the fancy pretty cosmetics that are, $10 a pop that look great. But the fact that all that stuff you can literally just sit down and play and really lose yourself in is kind of a scary thing too at the same time, because I am curious how you manage to take yourself away from that, because at the end of the day you still have to coach a team.
Well, it's getting harder and harder as like the leagues go on, the seasons go on, because they add more and more mechanics, more reasons to keep doing things. But I mean, if you're working on a character, at some point you're just going to get like bored of working on it, and you have to decide, well, do I want to start putting less time in this character every day, or do I want to start a new one and actually take more time? And a lot of times, because we have other jobs like streaming, coaching, whatever, then we'll just decide to not play another character and just do less time every day.
Do you have a preference
ourselves
between the two? Do you prefer to start a new character with a new season, or do you prefer carrying over?
Well, you can't carry over quite easily. Like you can make the same character because like each league gets a full reset, right?
Right. You have to start from scratch with earning materials and all that kind of stuff. But do you prefer doing something that is like, okay, tried and true, or like do the new expansions or I guess seasons bring any new builds? Because I assume they tweak like some of the things. Like I know my buddy was playing a like a heavy one-handed kind of like slam barb and stuff, and they changed the sword that he used, so like his complete build was just totally destroyed. And I assume there's minor changes like that to builds, so at least it keeps your build fresh.
Yeah, so typically I'll start with like a spellcaster. I've used the same skill as like a starting build for the season, the past 7 seasons.
Jeez.
But this patch coming out tomorrow, actually, they completely reworked how melee works.
In what way?
Every way.
How do you rework melee?
Well, it was bad, and now it's good. So it's like,
so the core mechanic is the same. It's just it's now more effective. Like it's more of a viable option.
Yeah. So they made it easier to actually get damage using a melee skill. They actually changed how melee skills display how they're doing damage. We got animation canceling, so when you're doing an attack, you could stop right after it instead of just like doing whatever ending animation they had onto it. They reworked every single melee skill to add damage basically to the skill itself, because normally when you have a melee skill, it doesn't have any damage attached to it. It just has like a damage effectiveness, and you have to have some form of actually getting damage either from a weapon or a jewel or whatever, or a piece of gear that just adds flat damage. But now they have it so that it's like base on the skill gem. So that's really good for starting a melee character, because a lot of times melee is pretty slow to play throughout the game, like leveling and getting to maps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember the first character I made was like melee and stuff. And I'm like, this sucks. This is terrible. But I was notorious for getting to like level 40 or something like that and then giving up anyway, because that's right where you start to see that like that jump and everything. And I'm like winging it. I wasn't looking at guides or anything. I was just trying to be like, this kind of works, and it doesn't. It definitely doesn't kind of work at all. Sucked.
Yeah. But now that should be easier. They also changed like the graphics of melee, so you know what you're hitting.
Hmm.
Before, like there was some single target, like name lock skills, which now like previously the animation would have your sword like cleave through like three enemies, but you'd only hit the one you were targeting. Now it'll hit any enemy inside the animation.
Which makes sense. I mean, it sounds like a lot of just quality of life things that obviously those things like when coding and everything comes around, like that takes a ton of work, and for it to work well and not break the game. So for them to actually make those changes, I think it's just good timing too, because you get, you know, a bunch of new classes or a bunch of new builds that are now viable or things that you can actually explore with that aren't going to be a, you know, pain to get up there for damage, like you said, that are gear dependent. But then you can also do it with new content too. Like it sounds like a double edged sword, but in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, they also reworked a few gems like pretty heavily. Like if you play Diablo 2,
Hmm.
or I guess Diablo 3, even a whirlwind barb,
Yeah.
you never had a proper whirlwind skill, because in Path of Exile it's called Cyclone. Um, but it was never properly whirlwind. Like whirlwind is like you channel it, but Cyclone it was like you
Diablo 3, I think you
use
did.
Diablo 2 is definitely like a channel skill. Like you press and
Yeah.
hold, and as soon as you stop holding,
Yeah.
it stops. But with Path of
I
Exile,
think
before this new patch, you like click it and it keeps going until it's done. But now it's a channeling skill, so whenever you stop, it stops, and it's super smooth now, or supposed to be at least.
do they do like a PTR for Path?
They do not.
I don't know
They do
why.
have open betas for like big patches, but for these
Okay.
small ones, they do have a QA
This
team.
is a small patch. Okay. Doesn't sound
Oh
like
yeah,
a small patch.
this is a small patch. Like a big patch. So this is 3.7. Path of Exile 3.7.
Hmm.
The big patches normally come when they increase the first number. So
Okay.
like 3.0 was a big patch. 4.0 is a big patch, and that's coming like late 2020.
How would you describe the difference between like like what constitutes a big patch, like content wise? What makes the big jump as compared to a small one? Because like to me, adding a new mechanic when it comes to late game content, doing stuff like, you know, complete rework of a melee system, gem reworks, and all that kind of stuff, like that to me is a pretty sizable patch. Like that's a lot of that's a lot of stuff. So how do you escalate that to a full tier of like what's the difference? What was the difference between like 3 to 4 or like 3.9 to 4?
Uh, Basically like in like entire mechanics changes. Like I think they're looking at changing trade like entirely, because there are some
Trading's
things that
massive. Oh, trust me. I remember you
yeah
buying
like
things for me. It was great. I didn't do because every time I went to like get stuff or obtain stuff, I'm just like, Jahzo, fix it. I don't.
exactly. So they're looking at multiple options to try to fix trade, maybe some UI changes. Like it's big changes, but also content. I think they're adding content in 4.0. So
Okay.
like in 3.0 we got like the second half of the whole story.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure I don't know how often you were playing, but at one point it was literally only acts 1 through 4,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to get to maps, like to get to the final end game, you had to play through acts 1 through 4 3 times.
Yeah. It was like playing Diablo and unlocking harder difficulties. It was a pain in the ass. It was boring too.
Yeah, and then
The last character I did, I got to like 80 something, like 86 or something, or 85 or somewhere in that area. So like I played through all the acts and stuff, and the fact that because when I leveled previously, like there's a big skill jump in the, like the 40 to 50 range, and I always like struggled in that area because I didn't have like a viable build because I wasn't following anything. I was just trying to, you know, blind it. And
mhm.
then this last time I came back was when I was playing with you and Crow, and like we got past that skill pat because you hooked me up with the trade system, and then the rest of the game throughout was like, okay, this is new. Like, yeah, you're still redoing some of the stuff, but at least it was like a different taste to it. Like it was a spin off to it almost, which was
Yeah,
great.
because the entire time you're leveling, you're like micromanaging your gear.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't start out with like gear that would carry you to the end game, you're literally every 5-10 levels you're changing your gear. But then once you get to maps, it's like you're leveling slower, and then you're also like you have incremental increases rather than like these big gear reworks.
Yeah, like massive like power spikes and stuff, which makes sense. But that's crazy, man. Like the amount of effort and time that goes into that game. I mean, there's a reason why it's still as popular as it is. To me, it's easily the best like dungeon grinder out there. Like it's so well done, and there's so much content and so much stuff to do. And the fact that they put in these tiny patches and then these massive content ones too with complete reworks and stuff is a true testament to like how well that developer and stuff is going, and probably why you still play as much as you do.
Exactly.
Jahzo's dying, guys. We killed him.
I am.
It's all that
I got
vape.
sick after Dallas.
Yeah.
It
Ho-
hurts.
Hopefully it's nothing bad. Is it just like a flu or
It's a cold.
it's the convention cold?
Yeah, I didn't have enough vitamin C.
Vitamin C, sleep, and hand sanitizer. Also fist bumps. By the way, for
It's
anybody who's going to
handshakes.
land Jersey, if you see us go for a fist bump and not like a shake or like a high five, it's nothing personal. It's just this is less scrims than this. Because I don't wanna go Jahzo right now. Hopefully he's doing
True.
okay. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun. When
It's a
you
bad
interact with that
cost
many
system.
people, when you interact with that many people, it just compounds like over and over again. So I guess that kind of leads me to the next thing. Like Jersey, what are you most excited for? Obviously, competition's gonna be exciting, but there's a lot of changes this season, formats and otherwise. But before we even get into like the nitty gritty of it, what do you like most about going to lands? Because I
Well,
usually know mine.
I like seeing people
Yeah.
and seeing all these Rocket League people that I'm interacting with on a daily basis, right? But I also like, for Worlds especially, now that we had Dallas, it's a chance to redeem ourselves in a land setting because we didn't really end up where we wanted to. And it like Worlds will have a fresh group of teams. Teams were playing at Worlds. We didn't even get to touch at Dallas, like Vitality, the Ground Zero team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. All the fans at Worlds, it's like Worlds is something you lead up to. Oh my god.
Jahzo's dying. Well, I'm gonna talk while you take your time, man. If you gotta clear your throat, do whatever you do your thing. But yeah, like for us, like for people that have been around it for a while, who've gone to multiple lands. Obviously, Jahzo's been at quite a few now as well, whether it be DreamHacks or the Big Head Honcho. Like huge advocate for any time. There's one thing about going to an event and celebrating it with thousands of people that are all like-minded, all trying to enjoy the same thing. It's a different experience that you can't really explain. Plus, the difference between watching the Justin goal and being there and seeing it live, no one can replace that feeling. So I highly recommend anybody who does go, find some friends, get an Airbnb, hotel rooms, whatever you got to do, and try to make the trek. It'll definitely be worth it. In my opinion, it's some of the best times I've ever had in my life. So every time it's going to be great. And the fact that we're adding a new region this time, we've got a brand new format. Day 3 is all single limb, like cutthroat. Like it's going to be some really intense stuff. And the fact that even groups now, like you lose one match, there's potential you don't make it through. Like it's scary. So I'm really excited for this season. I think it's really going to jump to another level. And there's a lot of things I can't share with you guys that make me guarantee you it's going to be brought to a whole nother level. So it's going to be exciting. World's going to be nuts.
Definitely hyped for that. I was trying to make the point before
You started to die? Yeah.
no, yeah. That Worlds is something you like lead up to. Like
Mhm.
there's advertising 2 months in advance. So like something like Dallas is it's only some people decide to go, but Worlds is something like you're traveling for. You're driving from like Maine just to go to New Jersey just to watch Rocket League. It's not a DreamHack where there's multiple games. It's all Rocket League. It's thousands of people rather than just like under 1,000 at Dallas. It's just that atmosphere is something I'm looking forward to every time I go to Worlds.
It's just everything gets heightened on a whole different level. And I think it's part of it because we build it that way. But I mean, it's exactly like you said during the RLCS. You know, every stream we start with Leaf talking about Prudential Center, get your tickets, we'll see you there. The end of every stream, Prudential Center, get your tickets, we'll see you there. And the fact that that's then emphasized now at the beginning, and big credit to Psyonix and everybody else. Obviously, it's not easy to lock down venues and deal with the logistical side and make sure all that stuff pans out. But the fact that we've gone from finding out, you know, a couple weeks in advance, you know, a month in advance to literally the first day of the season, you know, and you can prepare for it. So for those that really want to go, obviously financials and circumstances do happen, but if you can, please go. We'd love to see you there. Whether it be you want to come see Jahzo or myself, we will gladly say hi, take photos, and fist bump instead of handshake so we don't all get sick. But obviously, like I said, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of new things. To you, what are the biggest things that you're concerned about or either looking forward to when it comes to the actual competition?
I'm concerned about the playoff bracket. Like, so we were doing predictions last night.
Right. Which
You
went
saw it.
forever, by the way. You guys redid
Oh,
that
yeah.
bracket like 40 times.
Well, some of them were just meme redos, right?
Yeah, I know. I left and came back, and I was like, why are you guys still scribbling numbers on this thing? Like,
The most like serious prediction we had of the entire bracket literally had the playoffs have 4 NA teams versus 4 EU teams. Like each side of the bracket was a
Yeah.
region. Like, and I think that's an issue.
Yeah. I mean, look at it from both sides, right? Like, I think it's cool that you can have a different region represented. To me, as like an unbiased third party where I don't care what happens, the only thing I want in the World Championship Grand Final is 2 different regions. It's all I care about. I don't want the same because we saw that already. We saw that in regionals, right? But I do also think that it's cool to see 2 of the same regions make it out into the World Championship because look how it is for EU every fucking season, right? Like almost and notoriously it was EU versus EU for a very long time. So I think the fact that we do have 4 regions now, there is a way to set it up to where they all kind of collide in the semifinals, which I think is great. But until we see a performance from certain regions, I don't know if it's the most fair per se, because it looks like one side of that bracket is going to be a little bit easier, in my opinion.
I will say I'm actually looking forward to the opportunity to have a 2 NA grand final because that's never happened before.
It isn't, and I think any result, and I promise you guys this, it is literally my job to do this. But no matter who ends up there, I promise you the storyline going in is going to be something juicy. Whether it's the first time we've ever seen this region make it, or these players have so much history because they are from the same region. We've seen them compete this many times. Like you guys, G2 and Energy, like anytime you guys come up across, that stuff's history. Like there's so many times you guys have played each other that when it comes down to it, like who's going to win, we don't know. It's always close, no matter what the rosters are. So the fact that we can see that stuff is phenomenal. Like I want to see that stuff, but I also want to see some vendetta, kind of like vengeance. Like we want redemption stories. We want, any of these kind of things to kind of build off of, because when we reference them years to come, I mean, I think Energy, Justin's goal is a prime example. The fact that we don't talk about who won.
Yeah.
We talk about the goal that happened before they lost. Like moments like that are what make Rocket League so special, and the fact that we can bring those things up and reference those back is why Rocket League is as fantastic as it is. So I think groups is a good idea. I do like what you guys were talking about. If you want to kind of mention that, hopefully when money is no longer an issue, praise Daddy Epic Games. Hopefully things change. We don't know. Like I can't even talk to it specifically. But if things happen, ideal world, LAN is a longer event. It's a week-long minimum. Groups are extended. Certain things happen.
Yeah, because we were talking about last night. So if no regions are added and it's still 12 teams next season, I think like a 4-day group stage, double round robin, would be perfect.
Just so we control the matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have how do you feel about, so say you guys aren't the mainstream, like say Energy versus Cloud9 is happening at the same time you guys are playing,
Barca.
Barcelona. Still a hype match, still a really good match, but which one do you take? Do you take the big rivalry, or do you take a match that we don't get to see often? How do you make that decision? How do you appease everybody or the majority? You can't. There's no win in that scenario.
Yeah, but a lot of other esports have events where group stages have
2 streams. Okay, so do you feel like how would you prefer? How do you logistically handle a B stream? Is it the same as DreamHack? Is it different? Is it?
Well, so the B stream for Dallas was a little bit weird because you had people on the regular stations and you were streaming from like a back set. But DreamHack Dallas CSGO actually had like setups outside of the practice area where you'd go and play on the B stream. I feel like that's more appropriate. Like you wouldn't have everyone on the stage. It could be almost like E-League. So when E-League did their major for CSGO, their group stage was not in front of an audience at all. And I believe they had 2 streams. Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't have an audience. They were all playing on a stage, but if you go back and look at the VODs, they were literally like, there's either 4 or 8 teams on the stage at once. and you've seen the E League stage.
Yeah, it's packed.
So yeah,
Which is crazy because their teams also have 5 players.
yeah, instead of 3.
I mean, you're
So
talking
like
20 people on stages compared to 6. Yeah.
theoretically,
Well, those
could,
stages are also really deep. But you can make it happen if you change the layout.
like theoretically, RLCS like could have like a backstage couple of setups for a B stream.
I feel as long as it's handled appropriately, right, and it gives it the gravitas of main stage. Obviously, not that big of a walkouts and all that kind of stuff, but a location where you can watch still good production and everything else. But then I counter you with the same thing, and I feel it comes back to the same answer for you. But logistically, you have to have talent cover it. You have to have a whole different production team cover it. You still have to build out all the electrical and everything else, the internet. You have to have another server for LAN. You have to, all that stuff has to logistically be there because then the competition has to be of the same level, if not consistent. Like it has to be. You can't not. There's certain things that you have to fulfill in order to make that an option. So B Stream I think is a great idea because it still allows you to tune into the games and allows us to churn out games twice as fast. I personally enjoy that. As much as WSOE got a lot of hatred from the community, it was just something different that they weren't used to. But even if there was like multiple games going on at the same time, and I had pictures of multiple games, and I could just watch them all, kind of like an NFL Red Zone, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
I can easily watch 2-3 games at the same time and then just tune in when I want to. I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah, because that was good in the backstage area, like the back area for players at WSOE. It's like we had TVs with we had a middle TV with the mainstream, and the side TVs all had all 4 other games that were going on. Like that would be good as long as they didn't have random breaks in the middle of a series, or at least breaks that lasted so long. Because I think they had 5-10 minute breaks in the middle of a series, which is kind of annoying. I understand it from a production point of view. They want to showcase other games. They want to have time to plug sponsors for a few minutes and do whatever. But for Rocket League, there's so much momentum that goes into how you're playing the game.
Yeah,
as a team, especially
the number one thing as a TO is you always need to make sure competitive integrity is kept in check. You always need to make sure that when it comes time to pauses, breaks, etc., you always want to make sure it doesn't affect and change the result. And if you handle a B stream with that in mind, so say you do a group stage, you extend it multiple games, 6-team round robin, double, whatever you want to do. As long as there is a way to consume that content and it's handled appropriately, to me, even if you don't put casters on it, right? I think it's a great opportunity as being talent. I think it's a great way to give other people opportunities to come out and get some work, right? Yeah. But you want to make sure it's handled and set to a certain level. You can't just bring out anybody, right? I do think that the Rocket League scene has plenty of talent to fulfill that. I don't think that's an issue. But as long as there is a way to consume that content, or even now that we have squad streams, now that we have the ability to do a multi-stream and put it up, I think that's definitely a capability. As long as I think we both agree it's handled well and the time is there. I personally feel like day one of LAN should be a show match. I think it should just be ceremonial and a bunch of media stuff and doing interviews and hanging out with the players and just kind of let's showcase these guys being people, even if it is just sitting on stage. Imagine Leafy's on one side of the stage and I'm on the other stage, and we're just in your face while you guys are doing freestyles and shit and talking whatever, and we can sit down and have in-depth conversations with the coaches while it's going on. And I think day one should be that. I think day one should just be a show match of whatever. The difficulty though is the players have to get over the fact that they're there to do more than just compete. And I love the pros, I love the coaches, I understand the mentality you're trying to be in there, but part of your job is being an entertainer. It's something that almost every big figure in Rocket League struggles with, or every big figure in other esports or reporters or whatever criticize Rocket League for. There's no big personalities, there's no people that you can really grip onto because everybody is friends, nice, whatever. There's no villain or anything like that. There's no trash talk. Everybody is, and the times that they do it, for some reason this community berates. I'm I know when Turbo did it jokingly a couple times, he got chewed up for it, but I'm dude, I fucking love that. That's drama. I want to see them play even more now, Or like when EG was talking shit to OCM, like, this is great. Like, keep it coming, boys. Like, this is what I want. That builds hype for your guys' first match, even though it's 2 months away. Like, I love it. And we just don't see it. I don't know why.
Well, at least with banter, I think players are just too scared. Like, they don't want to get on other players' bad sides. They don't want to be known as just bullying other teams or
I mean, it's got to be
whatever.
tasteful,
Like,
right?
well, yeah. But I know, like, I don't know if you caught it, but I posted a clip on Twitter after we qualified for LAN from League play of the guys celebrating.
And all yelling, let's go. Yeah.
But at the very end, it was like someone said, like, Squishy, we need you now. And I don't think Squishy took it very well, even though it was just a joke about one of the viewers in, like, the RLCS chat saying something about Squishy. I think, like, players might see that.
At the same time, that is more of a reflection of him than it is you guys. And he needs to understand that. Like, it's a thing of maturity. Like, I have nothing against Squishy. I think Squishy is a great dude. I'm super excited to see him in a week and a half time here. But that's more of a reflection of him than it is on anybody else. And people need to stop worrying about that. It's the same thing about being offended. There's a famous comedian by the name of Steve Hughes. He's Australian, love him to death. And he talks about nothing happens when you're offended. Literally nothing. It's literally up to you as a person. You can just simply choose to not be offended. And yes, there is circumstances where you have to be a little bit more careful. And this is a blanket statement. It's a comedy skit. But if there's a clear depiction of these guys are just messing around, having fun, they just qualified, and they say something like that, like, they're just celebrating. Who cares? Like, if it really affects you that bad, then bring it up to them. But until that point, like, why is it a problem? I just don't see it. And I think it has to do a lot, and I don't know if you agree. I mean, you're one of the older ones, too, in the scene, to an extent, I guess. I mean,
yeah,
you've been to college. Some of them haven't. I just punched my mic.
Yeah.
But, like,
as far as the scene goes, yeah.
I think it has to do with how we were raised. Like,
do you want to fix your mic real quick?
No, I'm over it now. I'm done. I'm pissed at you. It's just weird. I don't understand why, like, people don't have that thick skin anymore. Like, I grew up on 4chan getting yelled at and all different types of profanities, or like even Xbox Live, man. Like, Xbox Live was brutal when we were kids.
I grew up on Call of Duty.
So you've got thick skin.
Call of Duty voice chat,
man.
Yeah.
Every kid telling you they're gonna have sex with your mom. Like.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just don't get it. I really don't.
Being told you smell like old hot dog water over the internet. Nice.
Which is weird because it just reminds me of Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. I just don't. I don't understand. And maybe it's me being older and understanding or being susceptible to that kind of culture. But at the end of the day, like, even if my friends, like, I know some of my friends are the closest because of how much we pick on each other. It's kind of like an endearing thing. Like, if you don't get picked on, you're like, why am I left out? It's because I don't know you enough to do it, you know? So I don't know. I think it's weird. I think in time, I think Garrett's a prime example. The difference and the transition that he's made from when he first started to where he is on camera now is night and day difference. And until you guys are more exposed to it and the time you do it more, you're not going to see that comfortability. You're not going to see that personality really shine because everybody is pretty safe in interviews. And credit to, I think, Leaf the first time he did when he was in London. He brought out a lot of that. You finally start to see people a little bit more into it, and a little bit more comfortable. And that's not easy, but there is a lot of give and take to it. I don't know. I think media training would help a lot.
Yeah, I know G2's been talking about, so G2 as a company is expanding a lot. And a discussion that's been on the table recently is actually getting, like, new signed players to be flown out to their headquarters and have a team prep them for media. Literally, like you said, media training.
As they should.
So,
I mean,
I don't know.
The way I look at it is look at the difference between, like, the silly, goofy, like, videos that the G2 boys do, where they're, like, answering questions about each other and, like, who's the most likely to do this, or who's like this character in a movie, and, like, just loads of personality. And it's fantastic. I'm like, this is great. This is fantastic content because not many other people other than G2 do it. Like, yeah,
G2's pretty good at it.
Yeah, credit up to G2 because they do put a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, take this personality, put it on stage. Like, do you know how many times that GIF was played of Rizzo dancing while JNAP still couldn't find out where to go, even though it was the same every time? Like, it was insane. I'm like, little things like that are what propel you to this next level. That's how you get people to remember you. It's why your YouTube is successful as it is. It's why your stream pulls, you know, how many viewers it does. Because you are a personality, not just a pro. So, I don't know. People like you can only get so much help. At the end of the day, like it truly relies on you. Like you have to be willing to make that step. You can't get offended by every little thing. And if you do, throw a little shade back, man. Like defend
Yeah.
yourself. Stick up for it. Don't be all grumpy about it.
I think that's another thing is like I was saying, people the players might be scared, but when Turbo's talking shit, just like instead of being offended, like you said, just talk shit back.
Yeah, as long as it's done well. Like there is some players I will say, and I'm not going to call anybody out, that do personal. They make it personal. They go for attacks that are kind of ones that strike a nerve, right? When Turbo does it, it's just like, Turbo, you're an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
your name is literally Turbo Sausage. Like how am I supposed to be offended by this? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just find it weird. I find it really weird, and we're on a huge tangent, and that's what I love about this. But I just don't get it. I want someone to lead the charge. Jahzo, I'm gonna encourage you as much as possible to get your players to be as personality driven as possible, which is gonna be tough
I mean,
because Chicago's a very young guy, and
well,
Jane Apps
Chicago actually has a lot of personality.
Oh, dude,
Like,
he's fucking hilarious.
you remember WSOE?
Yeah,
They were literally one of the first interviews. I guess it was after we beat TSM.
piping it up,
It
man.
was like super nighttime. It was like, what were you doing? And it was just like, oh yeah, I was just telling Rizzo to pipe it up. It's like, that's great.
And now everybody in the community knows about it, right? Like everybody
Yeah,
talks about
now
piping it up, and that's
Now
great.
the players hate it too.
Oh, good. Time to get to the next thing, man. Like
True.
that's how it goes. It's internet culture. People grasp onto things, and at least they have something to grasp onto. So you guys should be happy about that. I think Chicago's fantastic for you guys' team. He's a character. I'll give him that.
Oh yeah, he's unique in his own ways.
That's
for
great
sure.
though. That's what you guys need, and it clearly is showing. I think this could be your guys' best performance yet with G2.
Very very possible.
How you feeling
I
about
mean,
groups?
with predictions, if we just Vitality, they've
Yeah,
been
I mean,
broken. They were
yeah.
broken at Dallas, so
Yeah, but nobody
Yeah.
also expected, evil geniuses to go top 4. So
I just think that says how good teams can be.
yeah,
on the
it's
day.
scary,
And
man.
if we show up and the Vitality doesn't quite show up as much as we do, I think we make it out first seed. We don't have to play NRG in playoffs as long as they make first seed,
Mhm.
and we can make a run for the bracket.
How do you feel
Whole
about your guys' groups other than Vitality? I mean, is there any worries, any things that you guys are prepping for specifically? Obviously, you don't want to share too much because you don't want to give away stuff, but
Well, our biggest fault at Dallas was actually not enacting our game plan the way we wanted to. Like we were doing it against Cloud9,
Mhm.
and we went to get up against EG, who we thought was a weaker team, and we just didn't play how we wanted to. So that's going to be really important for playing Ground Zero. Like we can't underestimate Ground Zero,
no.
and we can't underestimate Vitality. I don't think we're going to underestimate Vitality at all because they're obviously number one EU seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we just have to make sure we're enacting our game plan, playing the way we want to play against any team we do play. That'll be our biggest.
Do you feel that's why Energy has been as good as they have? Because to me, anytime I watch Energy, even though there's things that they're faltering on or the other team is starting to win on challenges or whatever, they never change what they do. They always stick to what and how they want to play, and it works for the most
You got
part.
it right on the head of the nail. Like that's energy. Energy forces whoever's in the arena to play their style. And when that doesn't happen, when a player is just feeling so bad or sick, like Justin was at Dallas, that's where it crumbles.
Mhm.
But I mean, season 5, London, they're forcing everybody to play the way that they wanted to play. That's
Mhm.
why they made it through the uppers to grand finals. Even all the way back to X Games, which is a year before season 5, like it was their game. And that's something they've worked on. Even like Chrome and I have talked, and we discussed which teams are most similar between scrims and their actual competitive play. And NRG is by far,
Which is crazy because they lose
closest.
a lot of their scrims because people
They
don't.
do.
Because people don't, and that's stuff. Obviously, a lot of the public don't talk about this stuff. Because I'm pretty close with the guys from Energy as well, and I talk to Chrome quite a bit. But they lose a lot of their scrims because people in scrims do things that are different. They try out other playstyles. They go for a bunch more demos or just weird things that you would never do when you're under that kind of pressure or that circumstance. And I don't get it. Why are you putting emphasis and practice into something you're never going to do in play? I don't. What's the point?
It's like it's habit. I feel so like when I hate to throw Crow under the bus, but when we were playing with Crow, he would do a lot of things in scrims that he like wouldn't do in game. So he was like a main proponent of us not playing the same as we do in scrims on the stage.
Why do you think that is? I mean,
I don't think it's
You've
conscious.
known Crow for a long time, probably longer than anybody in the scene.
Yeah, probably. Well, because I've known him for a long time,
Right.
like you said.
You guys go way back.
I think it's just subconscious. I don't think it's anything Crow does knowingly. I think it's like he's actually. It's funny. Him scrimming with Rogue is actually pretty similar to how they play on the day. But I know that when we were playing with him, it was pretty different. And I think it's subconscious. Like he would maybe lead scrims one way, and then we would go and the team would agree on playing a different way, even though like our whole focus is to play on the way we want to focus on training the way we want to play on stage. Even though like Crow would like make micro adjustments in scrims or what have you that led him to play much differently. But I mean that's just Crow, but and then it seems like though Rogue actually plays pretty similarly on both fronts.
Yeah. I mean, they had, stage. And it didn't happen overnight either. Like they had the worst offseason out of any of the NA guys from the looks of it, just performance wise and whatever. You know, they made the roster change and we're just like, you guys are losing at everything. You're not qualifying for anything. And then when it matters most, they have a stellar regional championship and qualify, which I don't think any of us saw that coming.
I saw it coming slowly. I didn't expect.
Like, you could tell they were starting to ramp up, but I didn't think it was going to be like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we're talking about regionals, I think they definitely faced a disheartened SSG.
Yeah, I mean,
so that made it a little bit easier.
Yeah, when you drop down from that and stuff.
They also brought out the actual Rogue playstyle from scrims. Like that was probably the most similar I've seen them play to how like we've seen them in scrims.
Do you think they're going to be able to replicate that at LAN? And is it going to be enough?
I worry about Wonder and AJ on the big stage for the first time. I think they're going to crack under pressure and not play how they want to. But if Crow can reel him in, because he has plenty of stage experience, then I definitely think, like, speaking about Rogue, their Group C is probably the closest group we predicted out of all four. Like, we predicted every series in that group to go to Game 5.
Do you think that's because of who's in it and what we've seen, or just because of? I mean, say that all the teams play how they play ideally, right? They're all playing peak performance, whatever. Are the results still the same, or are your predictions for that based upon what you think will happen with inexperienced players on LAN, etc.?
So we were trying to account everything. For me personally, all my predictions about Group C were looking at what rookies are on the teams.
As you should.
You have at least one per team. You have Zen, you have Alpha, and you have AJ and Wonder.
Right.
Each team has a rookie. Alpha is arguably the best player in Barcelona. So if you have him underperform because of nerves, that's bad.
Right.
It's going to be bad. Zen, he has a few LANs under his belt, like even WSOE.
I mean, he's got more experience than any of the other guys when it comes to LANs.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the stuff for OC is played LAN, right, for their stuff, because it's Gfinity now.
Right.
And then they also have their end of the season, plus he did WSOE, and they just did DreamHack. So, like, theoretic, I can't even say that word. I'm like, forget that word, but
theoretically.
That one, thank you, Jahzo. But yeah, I think he has the most experience. So, does that give him a leg up? I mean, you'd think so. But we all agree RLCS is a different beast. And it's going to be the biggest crowd we've ever had by far.
A lot, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people there, which is super high.
So if I were ignoring stage and everything, if I would just take peak performance from every team, it would go Barca, Renegades, Rogue, and Rogue would be eliminated. But I'm taking everything else into account. Even warm-ups on stage, Rogue is going to play, I think, Renegades after playing Barca. So even if Rogue loses to Barca, they're going to play Renegades on a warm-up.
Which helps a lot.
Yes.
Getting that first one out of your system is massive.
So then we have Renegades and Barca, and I think Renegades, with them having so much stage experience and Worlds experience, because it's literally Kami and Torsos versus like three players who haven't been to Worlds in many seasons. I think I gave it to Renegades over Barca.
Really?
Yeah, I think like that group has the highest chance of everyone going 1-1, which is scary because then you go to game differential. But if every game goes 5 or goes to game 5, you literally have to go to goal differential, which is even more scary.
God, I I don't know, man. Like I understand it's been a long time, but I still give the nod to FCB. You got a lot of veteran talent. I understand that Alpha is a huge proponent to why they're successful. I think that it will be make or break because I still don't know who the leader is for that team. I have no idea.
It's supposed to be Bluey, right? But
He's a young kid. He's still quiet, like, and he's super emotional. So when things don't go well, that's what scares me most. Is this is going to be the guy that's supposed to be the one to reel them all in? And definitely, he seems like he's maturing. Obviously, that's bound to happen with age. But like, I
they
have
also have Roken.
concerns. I have concerns.
They have their manager Roken.
Yeah, but he can't. To my knowledge, he's not going to be able to be around it when it matters most, which is when the games are happening or in between, or it's literally they're up there on an island surrounded by thousands of people. And hopefully they're not listening to this because I don't want to pressure them even more. But
Not
like,
pressure them. I don't want to play them in quarters.
yeah, it's if
Or
they make
semis.
it through and they get hot, that is a team with a lot of potential to just overwhelm. Because we saw what
Yeah.
happened with Devo. I think it was season 4 when he like we had all these questions like we have no idea how they made it here. Like, what Devo are we gonna see? And all of a sudden, Devo's hitting backboard touches to himself, and me and Shogun are losing ourselves collectively. Like, I don't know what we just saw.
Yeah, that was also when people were saying Dio was the best player in the world.
No, it wasn't. Devo
Well, I
Devo
guess
was abysmal that season.
what they were saying Maestro weren't they?
Uh,
Because that was season 3 when it was Maestro, Remco, Dio.
no, Turbo, because that
Well,
was
Turbo was a sub,
no, it was
and he
season
came here
3.
for
That was
Worlds.
season 3, right?
But Diva wasn't out season 4
I'm thinking season 5 then. Season 5 is what I'm thinking about when he because
when
that was
Diva was
last.
an Envy
Yeah,
with Remco and
yeah,
Ignite.
yeah. Because we had a lot of questions like I don't see it, and then he had his moments, but then Remco or not Remco, Ignite also had difficulty because he's like, I need help, I don't know what to do, and I can't read Devo. Like Devo either plays really well and we win, or we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean that can be said about a lot of teams now. We all play really well or we're done.
Yeah,
It's just so competitive, man. Which is great. I love it. But
I mean, it being so competitive. I mean, we can lead into the coaching stuff if you want to. Like
yeah,
that might be the next way to increase the skill ceiling.
yeah. I
Is
mean,
having a coach on
I'm a
stage.
huge advocate for it because I see it in every other esport that I've been a part of. But for me and for you both, ideal things that you want to see in coaching. Obviously, you've been coaching now for quite a few seasons. You've got a bit of experience from multiple events and everything else. But what are things that you still think are missing? Things that need to be implemented, or things that you would like to see implemented in the future that may not be applicable right now?
Optimally, coaches we get to be on stage and listen to comms and talk during the minute breaks between games. At a bare minimum, if that's not possible, let coaches be on stage and listen to comms, not talk at all except for one timeout a series, which you get to take in between games.
How long is that timeout?
An extra minute on top of the 1 minute game timer.
So 2 minutes.
Yes.
What do we call the timeout so it's not called the tactical timeout? I need a better name.
I have no idea.
Exactly. We always call it tactical timeouts, and it sounds super memey, but I mean, what else are we supposed to go with?
That's what CS:GO calls it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are probably some creative people that come up with a good name that sounds attractive. And
Yeah,
I mean, at the bare minimum, a coach needs to be able to talk at some point during the series with their players.
so why is that break any different than the ones that WSOE was doing? It's the same thing. It gives you a chance because you can use it strategically to talk. You can use it to kill momentum. Do you think then WSOE's thing is less detrimental? Obviously, theirs was like a 5-minute break, 10-minute break.
So WSOE, it was unclear whether or not coaches were even allowed to talk to their players. Because what's funny is, in my case, we were playing PSG. We were up 2-0. We took a break. The players came and talked to me. I was like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. We're doing all right. Meanwhile, all 3 PSG guys are on their computers looking at replays.
That's weird.
I didn't even know if that was allowed. Like, that's where if you actually call it a timeout and it's not just a media break, you can actually put some context around it
Mhm.
and actually put rules around it. Like, are those guys even allowed to like stay at their computers and watch replays, or are they supposed to come back here and wait and talk to their manager?
Yeah, I know. So the crazy thing about League of Legends, the way they do it, is in between their series, because their series are 30, 45. Their games are a long time. They
Mm-hmm.
go out to their own personal area. Usually their coach or something has a tablet with all the stuff on it, because they have like an API and everything for it, and they just pull up and like, yo, these are important things. These are things to focus. Let's get back into it. They get like a 5-10 minute breather, right? So I do agree. Okay, we talk optimal situation. You guys can be on stage. I totally agree that you should be able to listen to comms at any time, but your mic should be completely cut until that 1 minute countdown happens, right? So we've got a minute you can discuss in between each match, which totally changes everything, in my opinion, because you're getting a third party watching from an outside perspective that may notice things that the others don't, notice habits, and can kind of recollect. I think that's fantastic. I think it's only going to make teams better. I think the matches are going to be way better because of it too. I think we're going to see a lot more Game 5, Game 7s because of that. I don't think it's going to see blowouts. So you see that. What rule sets around it then do you feel are fair or things you can make arguments for?
Regarding coaches
Yeah,
talking
so
to
like,
players.
yeah, so player, you can talk, you get 2 minutes, you can do it once per series, otherwise you can talk that 1 minute between each game, right? Is there
Yeah.
certain times when you shouldn't be allowed to call the timeout? Should there be certain times where are you allowed to look at replays? If you have stuff on your tablet, can you use that? Does it have to be all in writing? Like, some of these things have to be taken into consideration.
That's definitely true because I
Now
know
making
a
now
lot of
making you think.
coaches.
Yeah, how you like me now, Jahzo?
Well, so I never had an idea of having like a notepad or a tablet up on stage with me, because normally I can like retain patterns I'm seeing that we need to fix, or just general things that aren't working, things that are working.
So
Like normally
as
I can just recall
so
that
like
kind
I'm
of
a I'm
stuff.
a visual learner, and when I coach, I do the same thing. I feel it's easy to supplement information when I give it visually. So if I have even a notepad that circle here, circle here, circle here, this guy's going here, this guy's going here, this guy needs to be here. Instead, you're doing this. I can grasp that concept way faster than you saying like this rotation is going. I can visualize it because that's how I play. It's with a visual, right? So
Right.
being able to do that with even say G2 develops a program for you guys where you have a picture on a tablet and you can take a pen and draw on it, Madden style. To me,
Hmm.
that's super valuable. But imagine you also have the replay immediately on that tablet and you could break down the replay that way. Like, those things have to
I
be
think
within confined rules, right?
having the ability to watch replays, I think it shouldn't be there. I think like any information should be something a coach. I mean, if you're bringing like a tablet or a notepad, this should be something like a coach can write down or
Mm-hmm.
note. I don't think you should be able to directly reference replays or VODs.
I'd agree
Like
to that.
that kind of stuff is stuff you pay attention to after your series is over, so you can actually break it down with your team more specifically. Because as a coach, you're only given so if you're given 1 minute between games,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have time to go break down things in a replay anyways.
Right. But imagine, okay, so like I'm talking optimal, like even as a caster, right? So if I'm watching a game, right, and I see glaring issues, right, and I can click a button and it exports that 10 seconds, and I'm just
Like if
like,
your game,
yeah, imagine being able to do that. Like, you have GIF your game and you click a button, it exports it, boom, it's right there, and I can just point that out. Stuff like that is fantastic. I love it, but I agree with rules saying you can't do that. I have to be able to. The only tool you can have is if you have like an image of like the map,
yeah,
and I can draw on that with like a bird's eye perspective or something, you know.
that
And
would be a
then,
good tool. And then being able to take notes,
yeah,
I think.
so you have a notepad that you can write on with the stylus, or you have a physical pen and paper, and then you have an image of the field that you can draw on. I think those two things would really heighten the gameplay. And do you feel one timeout for a best of 5, two timeouts for a best of 7, or still one?
Because I was just thinking about this, you'd probably have to give one per team, right? So
Yep.
theoretically, you'd get 2 timeouts in a best of 5, right?
Right.
Overall, and
The
you
only
get
thing,
4 in a best of
and
7.
and choosing when to take those timeouts is going to change everything. It really does.
Yeah, whether you want to do it after game 3, try to reverse sweep, or do it after game 2, so you don't get that far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it after game 1 when you see something glaring.
Yep.
Doing it in game 7 to make sure you're winning that game 7. There's a lot of tactic behind it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're going to
I
definitely
don't.
see a meta behind how coaches handle things. And that's what's going to also separate the good coaches from the not so good coaches. Because you will see the difference in the impact if that stuff is implemented. You have to.
Yeah. I don't think upping it to 2 in a best of 7 is good though.
I think it just makes that one even more significant, which I'm all for.
Yeah, I think I stand by that. I was thinking about it for a second. I think I stand by that. I think just 1 in either best of 5 or best of 7 is fine.
Ideally, I would like to see a bunch of majors where it's tested. I think like DreamHack, like Pro Circuit and stuff, where they enable you guys to test it. Like, okay, for this tournament, we're gonna allow coaches to take 2 timeouts. Production, because that's the other thing is production wise, like that's more time. The casters have to fill for more time, which I love. If you give me a tactical timeout and I have time to talk about what and the reasoning behind it, that is amazing. Because I'm gonna pick your brain every single land before you guys play, and I'll be like, all right, timeout wise, what are your thought processes? What are things that you're willing to share? Because if that happens mid series, I want to discuss what's going on specifically.
Right.
Like that stuff is huge. So the other thing to consider too, from like the broadcast perspective, is that is a longer day. That adds an extra bit of time. It's not much, but what happens if the server goes weird in that time, or something goes on. There's things that you have
Hmm.
to expect. So I love it though. I want timeouts. I want coaches on stage. What other things? So being able to talk to your players in between the minutes, no other time. 1 timeout per series, no matter the length, whether it be 3 games, 5 games, 7 games. I think that's fair. We'll never do a 3-game series.
Hopefully not on land ever.
No, never. And then what else? What other things do you think coaches should be able to do or not do, or things that you stand strongly by?
I'm not. I mean, the points you were just saying pretty much covers my concerns about it. Are
Mm-hmm.
there other things you can think of that what would tie into that kind of thing?
Mm, I hmm. Location of where the coaches can stand and stuff, like being directly behind the players. I feel like there would have to be like a designation of like you can only go in these areas, like you can't be close to them. Just for rule purposes, like there's going to be people that may try to bend the lines of what they can and can't do. Plus, I want you to be out of the peripheral of the player. The player's going to know you're there. That's another mental stress that we haven't experienced yet. But I don't want you to be in their line of sight in any way. Um,
I would like to be able to like fist bump my players when they score.
yeah. Oh yeah. I think
Which,
I think you should be able to encourage and stuff, but at the same time, I could also argue against that.
yeah, like I can definitely see the counter arguments. I know at Gfinity EU
Hmm.
when that was a
Oh
thing.
yeah, Gregan was Gregan
Dragon
was
was
the
big.
best cheerleader, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like there's certain things that are nice. And that mental thing can go both ways, right? Like it can also be like, okay, there's someone here that's gonna help. If I'm struggling with something, I know at the end of this, I'm gonna get some relief. This is cool. When you feel like you're lost or something, like as a player, if you're in this rut and things are going poorly and everything, and you just can't figure out like what am I doing wrong. Knowing at the end of this game, I'm gonna have a minute to discuss and be like, hey man, like help me out here. What's going on? And obviously, I don't think any pro will ever have that issue, but it's nice to know in the back of your head there's going to be some sort of support system there for you. I don't know. I can't think of like any major rules otherwise, because like even trying to think of other esports and how they do it and all that kind of stuff. Um, we don't have a ban pick phase. We don't have maps we have to worry about. We don't have cars that we have to worry about being gone or removing from the other team. So I know coaches were allowed to talk during that stuff. So when they do ban pick phase and stuff for Dota and for League and everything, the people can talk through the draft process with the coach. Um, just to think, because they have tons of team comps that they're worried about and everything. Maybe in lobby you're able to talk until the first 3-second countdown. I think that would be okay. Hmm.
one main concern for me is standardization across events. Right. So at DreamHack, your coach can stand right behind you when you're in the practice area playing your games.
Mm-hmm.
but then they go on stage, and bye bye coach.
Yep.
No fist bumps after goals or anything,
Right.
even though they have free will.
Yeah, I feel it only makes so, and this goes back to the thing we were talking about scrims, right? Is like I think ideal route is you need to scrim how you're going to play on LAN and vice versa. You practice how you play, right? And I think that same thing applies to people like I think 100 Thieves did a really good job. So Nate Shot in their latest thing for the League of Legends team, in their team house, built a stage with LED lighting with their setup exactly like how they sit on stage. So no matter when they're scrimming, whatever, they have the feeling like they're at LAN. So when they come to LAN, I'm just sitting at the office, another day in the office, right? And it's great. So say in the practice room when you guys are playing, your coach can also sit behind you, talk, whatever. And then that same thing is consistent when you guys go to the stage. And it's a lot of mental stuff, which is crazy because we used to, like as casters, we used to get picked apart constantly for talking about the mental game. And I don't think it was as prevalent as it is now, which I do agree to that extent. But it's always been a huge thing. And a lot of things we're talking about right now are all mental. It's all mentality.
I mean, I think like other esports too are similar. Like there was a time when CS:GO was heavily not mental, and then all of a sudden you're seeing these mentality coaches being signed by teams, and all of a sudden it's entirely mental. I think like skill wise, so many players are so close to each other, so many teams are so even. Like the slight mental edge you get by winning 4-1 instead of
So
2-1.
what do you do to set your
Stuff
team
like that.
apart then?
Just the kind of things you talk to them about. I mean, for example, I mean, like you can lighten the mood with G2 just by saying a few jokes, saying something funny, saying, "Oh, I wish I could go off stage right now so I could take a Jahzo," and then just laugh and you reset mentally.
I mean, it makes a
Just like-
difference. It does.
I know you're laughing at that Jahzo thing, but
I mean, yeah, obviously, but I mean, I totally understand though. Like to basically that split, it pulls it back to reality. You know, it's like a hey, you are playing a video game for thousands of dollars. There's a lot of pressure, blah blah blah. But understand to have fun. How do you do that? Crack a joke, whatever, quick, because you know how dangerous when Dignitas is smiling and laughing and whatever. That's when you need to be most afraid of Dignitas.
yeah,
So I
not
totally,
when Turbo's smashing the side of his chair.
yeah, probably not. I mean, I don't want to deal with an angry Turbo either, but it affects his play, so maybe I'll handle it. But yeah, and I know we only have so much time left. I don't want to give these guys too much of an inkling, but the big one too. You've been streaming a lot lately too. Kind of transition out of the coach thing because I think we kind of covered most of the things that we want. But you've been streaming. How's that been?
Good. I haven't. I want to stream when I got back from Dallas, but I haven't because I'm sick.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now Path of Exile starting up, and I'm actually leaving for boot camp next Wednesday.
You guys are boot camping.
Yep.
Where at, if you don't mind me asking?
Newark.
Nice.
We'll be there.
Do you guys have facility there with G2, or is it do you just have a place that you guys can practice?
I won't disclose that until I had more information.
That's fair.
I don't know if I should release that quite yet.
That's fair. I can respect that. That's good though. I'm glad to hear you guys are boot camping. How do you guys feel about RNG already doing it? They started like a couple days ago.
Yeah, I mean, OCE typically sends one or both their teams. Well, I know it's not OCE sends them, but normally one or both OCE teams will come over like even a month beforehand, and they were already here for Dallas.
Right. I know for the players too. I know they make a big appreciation of it because their travel days are like 18 hours both ways. So it's like for them the ability to just stay out, I think is ease of mind. It's like, hey man, just make the trip. You're here for a month. We'll make it count. It'll be worth it. I promise. Because imagine having to like what the guys did for E-League when Chiefs were out here for E-League. They had LAN after being here for 2 weeks or whatever. They flew home, and then a week after that, they had to fly back to Atlanta. Like,
yeah, and Jake got lost.
Yeah,
or Torsos got lost.
Dude,
in the airport.
Oh, that would suck so much, dude. That's a lot of travel. Because those are just begging for you to be sick and tired and whatever. So the fact that they can just stay out here, get used to the jet lag per se, and just, I think it's a good advantage for them. I'm glad you guys are boot camping too. I think did you guys feel when you guys had Kronovi, like to me, it was a clear difference in your guys' gameplay when you boot camped.
Yeah, I mean, towards the tail end of having Crow, Our
Yeah,
boot camps weren't as effective, but I feel like that was my fault for not making the boot camps more effective. When we're
it's
utilizing the time
respectable.
properly, they're definitely something we want to have and help us play better. Say us, but help the guys play better.
Do you feel that's
Eh,
just because you guys are able to connect and relate, and things are a faster process when you're in person, or is it otherwise?
It's that and more, because like you're in person, you get to know each other better. You get to hang out as a team.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit less pressure on you when you boot camp, like just leading into worlds. Like you're not going from playing online to all of a sudden playing LAN. You can experience sitting next to your teammates. You have time to actually watch replays in person instead of doing it over Discord screen share,
Sure.
which is nice. Um, you can dedicate time away from like players maybe preferring to go hang out with friends to more scrims instead. It's like I know JNFs does a lot of stuff with his friends up in Canada, but when he's at boot camp, it's literally just Rocket League
Yeah,
for the most part, and that
makes
definitely
sense.
helps to just being able to put more mental effort into Rocket League. Maybe not more time, but instead of waking up being like, okay, I go hang out with my friends and then worrying about Rocket League later, you're waking up worrying about Rocket League, even though you might not be playing it instantly.
It's just the mindset that you're in when you're there is like, I'm here for Rocket League.
Mm-hmm.
Let's grind some Rocket League, which obviously that's gonna be beneficial. So that's cool. Streaming wise, then too for you, is it what you always hoped it would be? Is streaming? I mean, how do you feel about streaming in general? Do you have your pros or cons? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Is there anything?
It's fun. I like interacting with people. So like I see some people in your chat that'll come in my stream, and there's some people I like chatting with. Like I know some of the things they get up to on a daily basis. So really connecting is fun. Showing off Jane Apps's gameplay because I know he won't stream. That's fun. I give an avenue for people to watch the legend himself play.
It's cool. Is there
Other than that,
any things that have caught you off guard or surprises about it? Because streaming when you first start is not what you think it is until you start doing it.
I wish I did it more. That's surprising because a bit ago, like I didn't like streaming
Mm.
for some reason. Like I tried it, I didn't really like it, and then when I came back, I was surprised to find out that like I keep wanting to stream. All I keep having reasons not to stream. I just want to do it more. And I feel like that's what these like top streamers like you or I mean not, maybe not top, but like just these consistent
The guys that
streamers.
are
Like
consistent, sure, sure. Yeah.
yeah, the ones that are consistent. I see where they're coming from. They like Rizzo like hates playing Rocket League, but he loves playing on stream just so he can interact with his chat and make memes and do whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's fun.
you build a community, right? The whole point of streaming, right, is I started as a place to have the ability to store content. So like if I played with my buddies, I wanted a place to be able to go look back at those moments and kind of reminisce, right? And the fact
Mm-hmm.
that I now have a community of like-minded people who all enjoy the same thing as I do, that I can share these things. It's like the mentality of when you go and see a movie and you talk to, like, after every trailer, you lean to your buddies and you're like, dude, this, blah, 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 that and that. Yeah, oh, yeah, it's gonna be sick. It's that, but all the time while playing video games. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
great. So being able to do that and still motivate, like, yes, sometimes it does feel like work, but anytime you do something a long time over time is going to have those moments, but definitely not outweighed by the awesome times that you're sharing and experiencing with people. And there's a personable level to it, which is super fun. With you streaming lately though, what's your setup? What are you rocking? I'm a big hardcore hardware enthusiast myself. I've been building my own PCs for probably like 5 years now, 6 years now. I'm on my third one or fourth one.
Same. Do you remember Liquor League?
Of course.
So they streamed on an ultra wide, and
Yeah.
I actually stream on ultra wide. So I'm one of the few Rocket League streams that has an ultra wide.
How do
And
you
like,
like ultra wide as compared? I mean, obviously your FOV is massive, but
well, going off topic, I like it for watching scrims because I get to see a lot more.
well, yeah, which is fine. I mean, I have a buddy who plays on a 34-inch ultra wide as well, and it's weird. Like, there's definitely some distortion when that wide of an FOV is going, but I don't mind. It's very like thematic. Like, I feel like I'm playing a movie when I
Mhm.
play on ultra wide, which is kind of weird to get used to.
I mean, people will come on my stream and say like, "Oh, this literally looks like a movie," and I'm like, "That's good. That's what I want." So I have that. I build my own computers as well. I have been for a long time, which is you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally on an i7 6700K, and I
Okay.
stream just fine.
What's your hardware? If you can
1080,
give me a list.
6700K.
Okay.
I have 32 gigs of RAM, unnecessary, but
No, I
I
have
do
32
anyways.
as well. We talking 3000? Or are we talking what's your speed?
It's 2800. I
Okay.
overclocked it to 3200.
Boy.
Yeah.
You doing any liquid
Um,
cooling then?
I used to, and then it leaked, and now I'm just on air cooling, and I
It's
haven't gone
unless
through
you're
the hassle of putting it back in.
unless you're really pumping it. Like I have a 280 millimeter radiator in mine up top, and then my
Yeah.
GPU is liquid cooled as well. You said you're using a 1080.
Yeah, 1080, and I
Nice.
had a full custom loop as well, so that was pretty neat.
People don't realize how much of
But
a pain in the ass it is to clean those.
it is a pain.
They're so
The
cool though.
radiators, especially
Yeah, they're so cool though. What color did you use for liquid, or did you stay?
lime green.
I dig it. I dig it. It looks really good for colors.
Yeah,
My buddy does
especially because
lime
I
green
had
and
custom
purple for
cables
his.
too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
mine's like silver lime green, and then my fluid was like lime green, and I have lime green cables, and everything else is either black or silver.
Have you ever thought
It's like
about like bringing it to like an enthusiast thing? Like I know some people at DreamHack will do that, where they'll go for the weekend and then they'll mount it and like make it look all fancy and then do that way. I don't feel safe bringing it into places like that myself, but
I'm scared of. I have a tempered glass side panel, so
okay.
little monk ass for traveling.
Yeah, a lot of mangas for traveling. I wouldn't risk that.
Yeah,
That's what laptops are for, man.
true. I
What's
don't have a 120 hertz laptop though, so
yeah. It's our new ones, man. Hashtag sellout gigabyte Oris. Go
there you
get their
go.
new Aero 5s, 144 hertz. It's got a 2070 in it. Thing's beautiful. Um, do you have any plans for upgrading in the future, or are you just kind of winging it for now? Because it seems like I assume it handles your stream just fine.
I want to upgrade to I guess an i9, like 7800K.
It means a motherboard update too.
I have a motherboard, and since I'm on 6700K, I already have DDR4.
Yeah.
So I have a motherboard from a past project that one of my friends commissioned me for, and I just ended up keeping it instead of returning it or whatever. So I
That's
should have
sick.
the money, spend like $500 on a CPU, and then just sit down and do the swap at some point, and then my streams will just get better, and
Just
I can edit videos because I edit videos too. So
would you instead of editing videos, would you and like using that, would you just build another PC and then use that as your rendering?
I have a friend that might actually want to buy my old components,
That's always a pleasure.
so that might actually make up for the cost of CPU.
Do it, man. What do you wait? Just do it.
So well, I'm waiting on the friend to actually like lock down and actually buy it, and then I'll just go ahead and drop the money for a CPU and get it swapped over, and then let them buy my parts. I'm just
So
waiting on the commitment from them.
it's always nice to have somebody that can actually just like pick that stuff. Because like I have a pile in the corner of my room, which is great. I had Husky over here like a month or two ago with Ample. I don't know if you know those guys. Um, but we were having a LAN over here, and Husky's computer wouldn't turn on, and we are trying to like reseat RAM and just figure out what it was. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, how much RAM you got in there? He's like, 16 gigs. I'm like, you want to double it? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, just put these sticks in. You're fine. Like, you're good to go. So we were like messing with stuff, and he's just like, holy shit, my computer runs so good now. And I was like, yeah, everything's been bottlenecked the whole time you've been trying to use it. But he's like, why do you have these? I'm like, my computer from last year. Like,
Yeah.
I got to get rid of them somehow. And right now I just don't have anything.
An important thing, like for my computer, I've never actually just built a new one.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a constant upgrade because like in high school I was big into computer parts. I was like buying and selling on like used forums like Reddit and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would end up like because it was for profit, but I would end up the profit always wasn't always monetary. I would end up in like part profit. There's like, oh, I can upgrade my computer with this. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was
And over time, it's become what it is.
when I was like 14, 15, I used to do like IT work for like people in the community or people in the area and stuff. Kind of like
Mhm.
your own business when you're a kid and you wanted to make extra money rather than mowing lawns. So I would buy a bunch of extra parts, and then when I'd go there to fix, like say there, hey, my computer doesn't turn on. What do I do? It's like, okay, after you figure it out, it's like, okay, the RAM's bad. You got a bad RAM stick. I can
Mhm.
either order one, get it here, and it's going to cost you this much. Otherwise, I have one in my car, and I can sell it to you for this much. And they're like, sick. Just do it now. So you turn a
Yeah.
profit that way. You do that, and I just accumulated a ton of parts eventually to the point where I'm like, I should probably just build my own and make it really nice. But I didn't get around to like PC gaming until my sister's boyfriend, when she was a senior, bought me StarCraft. I was like, this game's pretty cool, and I was playing StarCraft on like a shitty laptop with like one of those like the little like Lenovo, how they have the little red ball in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
and you like try to and you use that. That's how I was playing StarCraft. That and a trackpad.
Oh my.
And then I used a mouse for the first time. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so good. Look at my APMs.
Oh, the APMs, infinite. Yeah.
What was like your first like gaming memories? Were you a console person? Did you go straight to PC? Because most enthusiasts are like, we stay pretty hard for like console, like Halos and all that stuff, and then like as soon as you get into PC gaming, it's just switch. You never go back.
So it was a long time ago. It's like my young gaming career was a mix of everything. Me and my siblings, we started with a PS2 when I was like 8 years old,
Okay,
or however old I was.
makes me
Me
feel
and my
old.
dad would
Thanks.
play the Lego games.
They're actually
Like
really
Lego
good.
Indiana Jones. Yeah, me and my dad would play those co-op. And then from there, it progressed to my brother and my dad playing on a custom game called Wyvern.
Yeah,
We called it Wyvern, but some people say Wyvern or whatever.
yeah, bro.
Um, exactly. Um, it was a custom like game, and it had a tight knit community. And my dad ended up being like an admin and a developer for the game, and I would literally watch my brother and them. They called it RDing, which is random dungeoning. It's pretty similar to Path, but it's like this top down game where it's like squares instead of like a 3D, so it's all 2D.
Hmm.
That's probably where I get all my RPG
Reminds me of
fandom from.
did you ever play Tibia?
I think it's pretty similar. I'm gonna Google that real quick.
Tibia is like an OG dungeon crawler, like long, like pre RuneScape, and then RuneScape was somewhat in the same era, but Tibia was like an OG. There's actually like a streamer too that still plays it. She pulls like 1,000 viewers somehow.
Okay, so it's really similar to Tibia. It
Okay.
looks like the interface was a little bit more homebrew than this.
Okay.
So so you didn't quite have like equipment slots and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but you did equip stuff and you'd have like an inventory list and it would show you what's equipped and everything like that. But I mean, I would stay up late. Like there were like these live quest days where we would play for like 10 hours straight, and my mom would be cooking lasagna downstairs and she'd bring us all a plate of lasagna and stuff like that.
Those are the days, man.
And
My
then yeah.
that's
Go ahead.
great. Yeah, my childhood was to give you like an age comparison. I
Oh
remember growing
God.
up playing in television and like Atari.
Okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
a little bit. The only time like it was between like in television where your controller was a remote like yay big, and you had 9 buttons. It looked literally like a cell phone like screen,
Hmm.
and then you had a big ass scroll wheel at the bottom that you used to like move, and you play like baseball and like old school tank game and stuff. And then eventually we got to the point where we got an N64. There was a huge gap between us being able to play games because my mom's like, it'll rot your brain, don't do it, kind of thing. And then my dad snuck an N64 for Christmas one year and
Oh yeah.
never went back. So I remember playing in television stuff with my dad when he was younger and we were really young, and then skipping to like Star Fox 64 and playing stuff like that. But I mean PS2 was I was pretty old when the PS2 came out.
Well, for me that was a bunch of light gaming too. Like
Yeah.
after the Wyvern stuff, I moved on to a PS3 because my dad's boss actually gave him like a Christmas gift that was a PS3 and like 5 different COD games. Because I was talking about how I was gonna raise money and buy a Wii and play Black Ops 1 on it, and he felt bad for me that I was gonna play Black Ops 1 on a Wii.
Dude, have you ever played the Resident Evils on a Wii?
No,
You want to talk about playing a game in hard mode? Holy shit, trying to
is
get that
that bad?
stupid motion control to kill zombies when they're killing you. Dude, shit's hard,
Oh
man.
my.
So much fun, though. Play that while you're drinking. That's a fun drinking game if you've never done it. It's a good time.
Oh, that's
If
crazy.
they catch you, you drink. It's good. Really good. I
That,
don't
that's that.
encourage underage
Yeah.
drinking, by the way, chat. It's not good.
But the PS3 was when I officially like went hardcore into games.
Okay.
That's when I hardened myself with the COD voice chat.
Did you what was that PlayStation exclusive? There was like 2 races, I think. God, what was that PS3? It was like on launch. What
I have no idea what you're talking about.
was that
you googling right now?
Yeah. I can't remember. Chad, if any of you guys know, PS3 game launch list. God, that's an alphabetical. Give me a release date, please. Unreleased. All right, 2007. Def Jam. Oh, what a classic. You have rappers. Oh, Resistance.
No idea what
you
that
never
is.
you never played Resistance Fall of Man?
Mm-mm.
Great game. It's the only game I played on PS3 when I was a kid because I never had a PS3. I came in super late to consoles. I played on the original Xbox that my buddy gave me when he got his 360, so I could play Halo 2 with all of them. And then we got a 360 super late, but by then I was already into PC gaming, so I didn't really care. But yeah, I'm super excited for the Master Chief Collection. I haven't played any of the Halos past Halo 2, so I don't know how the story ends. I've played like the Warthog mission where you like instead of finishing the game, you just knock each other off and then restart the mission over and over again in Halo.
Keep in mind, I'm a PS3 pleb, so I didn't get the Halo exclusives.
Oh my god!
You know, my only Halo experience from my childhood was when my brother's friend would bring over his original Xbox and we'd play Halo like 1v1s or free for alls with the three of us, and I would destroy them because I would just get all the OP stuff and not even know that I had the OP stuff and just kill them all. But that like I didn't have any like Halo single player experience or any like I couldn't even tell you what I don't have from Halo because I didn't play it.
I'm telling you, man, when Master Chief Collection comes out, sit down with a buddy and just play through the whole campaign. I hear it's amazing. No. Because I don't know how the story ends, but all the guys, like all the casters and stuff talk about it, they're like, you don't know how Halo ends? And I'm like, no, I've never PC gamer, man. Like I can tell you about StarCraft and Warcraft and all that other kind of stuff, but no idea how Halo ends. And they're like, you are missing out on some of the best lore. And I'm like, you're talking about Warcraft? Come on. Like Warcraft's got some pretty sick lore. Don't even begin to tell me that.
I like the Warcraft lore.
Dude,
I played a bit of Warcraft.
Warcraft is a fickle mistress that I don't recommend anybody play Classic and get obsessed because it's a long road. Same thing with like League of Legends. I see all the guys like Rizzo them playing League again. I'm like, guys, don't. It's not worth it, man. Just watch the pro scene, but don't play it. It's not worth it. But it seems like they're having fun.
They're grinding the ranks, dude.
Yeah, it seems like they're having fun.
Yeah.
I played for 6.5 years. I do not miss it.
6.5.
Yeah.
Back in like middle school, I would play zombies on Black Ops 1 with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I lost into League one Christmas break. I was like, let's play some more Call of Duty Zombies this winter. And I come back, I'm like, dude, we never played zombies. I was like, he said, yeah, dude, I was playing League. You should play it. And I played it once. I was like, no. And I never played zombies in the game. He was just playing League every single day after that.
League was not a game that was fun. It was the game that all your friends played. which is a terrible thing to say, but it's so true. Like we played for so many years. I'm just like, I always end up more upset at the end of the night. And that might just be because of the people I was playing with, but I end up more upset if I would just not play this game. And then Rocket League came out, and I never touched it again. And it was a fantastic accident. So, shoutouts to Rocket League. It's where everything changed. It took me away from League, took me away from WoW momentarily. I went back to WoW a little bit, but Rocket League has always been the tried and true, which is good, and I'm okay with it.
Rocket League took me away from Minecraft.
Minecraft, dude, can you believe that it's still like top 3 all-time games sold or something like that? Or no, it just it overtook. It's the number 1 now. It overtook Tetris on its 10-year anniversary. That's right.
I believe it. I mean, I played a lot of Minecraft. Minecraft was the reason I got into PC gaming, because I had a PC, but it was bad, and I was like, Mom, I want to play Minecraft. So she got it for me for my birthday, and then we installed it, and I couldn't even play it.
That hurts.
So we had to go out and buy a new GPU. I think we got like, if you remember the 600 series, we got a GT 640.
It's a banger.
Minecraft.
It's a banger, dude. My first GPU, because my dad's an IT guy, so he was super against us like being on the internet and being kids and all that kind of stuff and online gaming and what we're susceptible to. And responsible, you know, dad, right? Trying to protect me from the harms that is the dark web and you know whatever. But yeah, I think my first card that I purchased was a GTX 275.
Oh, that's way back.
Yeah, yeah. And then before that, I couldn't even tell you the name. It was like $50 at Best Buy, and it was enough to raid. I raided WoW. For those in chat that don't know, I raided Naxxramas with like 15 frames. It was brutal. Took me like 20 minutes to load into the instance. Sucked, but he made it count. But it is about that time, Jahzo. You've got stuff to do. Before we have you, first and foremost, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're not feeling the best, so the fact that you're able to, you know, stick it out for the long run is always appreciated. Always a pleasure. But before we go, there's obviously two things we have to do. Number one, the floor is yours. Make sure you sell out in any way, shape, or form as much as you'd like. I'll do the main one for you guys. Go use your Twitch Prime on them. And then say the rest of what you'd like. And then after you're done doing your sellout, feel free to announce that next guest.
All right. Well, I mean, you can go use my Twitch Prime on my channel, but I'd rather you go follow me on Twitter. It's just Jahzo. It's right there. Jahzo at Jahzo. That's me on Twitter. Other than that, the next guest that I'm nominating is none other than the YouTuber, the streamer, the Rocket League professional, the map maker, Lethamyr. So that should be a doozy.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to that boy. But once again, Jahzo, appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the time that you spent. Everybody in chat, obviously he's being pretty nice about it. But right below his name, at Jahzo, hit him up on Twitter, Twitch, you name it. Make sure when the G2 boys are signing and doing a meet and greet at LAN in New Jersey, if you're there, also ask for the man, the myth, the legend, Jahzo as well. Make his day, ask for photos, you name it. Try to make it as uncomfortable as possible. That's what I ask. For him, not for me. Either way, Jahzo, appreciate it, man. Have a good time. We are out of here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Try to feel better. Hopefully you feel a little bit better coming up because
I'm trying. I have Path of Exile to play tomorrow, dude.
Yeah. I picture you like in a blanket up to your like chin, just like tucked in, and only like someone get this guy a Snuggie is pretty much what I'm saying. So you can put your arms through, and then like a crazy straw for water.
Oh, just get a hat with water. One with Alka-Seltzer in it, so I can just like take in the Alka-Seltzer and then switch to regular water and orange juice.
Probably not the best idea, but hey, man, as long as you stream it, I'm down to watch.
Anyways, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having. I'll catch you later, right?
See you in New Jersey.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. See ya.
Peace.